Hello, good morning students. Today we are going to see the topic purpose of design thinking from the unit 1 introduction to design thinking. To become a design thinker, a person has to have a design thinking mindset initially. So the following qualities are expected as it is listed out in the slide. The first quality is the person has to be empathetic. The person has to walk in other shoes. So the person has to feel the problem of the user and that too with a close attention, with a close understanding. That is what is actually known as empathy. And the person is expected to be very collaborative. The person has to work in a team. He cannot work alone. He has to listen to the others views, and he has to take decision finally about the problem solution. And the person is also expected to be very optimistic. He has to see the things very positively. The person is expected to be very approachable with different ideas. And there shouldn't be any ambiguity. If there is any ambiguity, those ambiguities are easily traced out and easily understood by the design thinker. So the design thinker has to mark the ambiguity issues. That is what it is clearly given as. Embracing ambiguity is one of the quality to have a design thinking mindset. And the curiosity is the another one important factor where it is highly expected from the design thinker. When the design thinker is having the curious mindset, he can find the problem solution very effectively and as immediate as possible. And reframing sense, the person has to understand the problem, and the person has to clearly state the problem, define the problem. And if the problem is not well understood, and he has to narrate the problem in such a way, that is what actually called as reframing quality. And the other three qualities are diversity. The person has to work with different alternative ideas and different thought process. So that is embracing diversity is also one of the important thing. And the person has to see the things with very tangible ideas, which could be sensible, which could be visible. And the person has to take an action immediately on the problem to find a solution. So this is the mindset for every design thinker. It is expected. So that is what it is clearly explained. So the goal of a design thinker, it is given in the three circles: feasibility, desirability, and viability. So as you know that feasibility is like the possible way of approaching the problem, and the possible ways of finding solutions to the problem. So whenever we say feasible, that something's to be possible. So that possibility is through technically supported, and the resources should be available to solve the problem efficiently. So that is the quality parameter of feasibility. The second thing is desirability. You can see that it is mentioned in the first point, which is meeting the user requirements, needs, and enhancing the user experiences. The people, the problem, it should be stated by the user, and the problem is easily understood by everybody, and everybody should come forward to find solutions. So that is what is given desirable. And viable, the problem handling process. Okay, the whole design thinking process, it requires some financial support. So that viability, it is another one important concern. We may try with different strategies, and finally we will come up with one particular solution. We may align the different solutions in such a way. So this desirability, feasibility, and viability is the triplet or triple constraints of every design thinking process. So there is a similarity between agile and design thinking. When you see that agile, it's something non-linear approach. However, design thinking is an iterative approach. Certain phases we can do repeatedly. Certain phases we can do n number of times until we find the expected results. And it is completely user-centric design thinking approach, and it requires, as it is as it is already told you in the previous slide, the collaboration is a very important kind of design thinking, because the collaboration can happen between a software and a hardware, or a different platforms or the different science and technology. Okay, and the flexibility we can do in a very there is no constraint or there is no specific time boundable process in design thinking. It's very flexible approach. And emphasis on prototyping. Yes, the prototype is the miniature or the pre-model before releasing the final product, so that prototyping can be emphasized and can be provided with a deep understanding of model. And it's completely feedback driven. If any issues happen or anything is satisfied and it's not satisfied, we can go back to the specific process and again until we solve the feedback satisfactorily. So focus on outcomes, not just for the solution. The solution should have a scope of outcome. So with all these things, design thinking is different from agile methodology. When it comes to agile, you can see in the diagram, it is it's a requirement gathering, then planning, then designing, then development and release. It's a very monotonous approach. But this agile development also, one similarity we could say that feedback driven approach, and it is also focusing on outcomes. So however, agile development is having some limitations in such specific process, but design thinking is not having any specific limitations in terms of finding solutions. So the difference between agile and thinking, one is scope. Design thinking is innovative approach and agile is a project approach, project management approach. And in design thinking, the focus is on the problem definition, and in agile, it is completely solution based, solution delivery. So timeline design thinking is variable. Uh, it depends on the problem, but in agile, it is fixed sprints. There is a specific time duration to complete the project. So on a conclusion note, design thinking is a way to define the problem, while agile helps to solve the problem in the most efficient way possible. In a more academic language, agile approach is a process for delivering a software with the known values with a fixed timeline, maybe 3 months or 6 months or 1 year, within that duration. Whereas the design thinking approach for finding solutions is unarticulated. So it's completely, it is without any time constraints, you can work on the problem. And if you want to create an innovative solution and deliver it fast to the market, design thinking and agile development are meant to be the together for the sake of your product. Of course, in one context, design thinking and agile, both approaches are having some similarity. Whenever the user is looking for a very unique solution, these two approaches could be implemented. Good. Thank you, students. Let us continue in the next class.